Good evening, fellow citizens of Melissa. After I posted my last video, I decided to do a little research and figure out why somebody's so upset with Mayor Dorman in the city of Melissa. After going to Bustu2's website on YouTube, Bustu2 is a person who has obviously been putting a lot of videos, very negative videos, and has a lot to say. And I'm not really quite sure who he was, and so I was just trying to figure out, why is he so upset? What's the problem? Where's his anger coming from? Because I just can't imagine anybody would be that upset over something. Now, this is his website on, you can see the background. It says integrity does matter, but not to Dorman. He's posted all his videos, so you can have comments, you can vote on all sorts of stuff on his site. So I started thinking, okay, obviously this guy is highly upset. Well, thanks to some help with some other people, we've kind of thought about who it could have been, and through further investigation, I think we might be onto something here. If you'll recall back in my last video on the City of Melissa City Council, this here at the bottom, and I don't believe I showed it on the last one, if you go past, and this is all on the City of Melissa website, by law they'll have to put the following people spoke in favor of this request. Mr. Ashley Neal, who is with Antique Terracotta, the tile company out of San Antonio, and Kathleen Baird, the land that was going to be on. And so I got thinking about this person and why they're so upset, because I believe in the planning and zoning and city council meetings there was some upset people. So let's move forward. First, I'd like to go and let's talk about Ashley Neal being on here and why this person would be so angry. And per my last video, I'd like to just clarify. If you look at this first rip-off report here, this is Ashley Neal Tile Luxury Power Productions. It's just basically a rip-off report about a man who ordered tiles June 6th. You can read right there. I hope you can read right there. This is a man who ordered tiles, paid through PayPal, and still doesn't have any tiles. No one answered the phone, immediately hung up when somebody did answer. Basically just terrible business. Let's go to another rip-off report that I found about Ashley Neal, Face of Siberia. Now this was really interesting because Faces of Siberia doesn't sound like a tile company to me, and certainly didn't sound like anything that would be in relations to tile, so I thought, well, it probably isn't it. So I look a little further, and I see that it's still from San Antonio, Texas. And I thought, well, I'm going to keep reading. It says right here at the very beginning, Ashley Neal of Faces of Siberia has cheated numerous American men. And this poor man put it on here. He visited facesofsiberia.com. It's a Russian marriage agency. He was interested only in one lady, Yulia, and it's Y-U-L-I-Y-A, with basically a Russian accent, it looks like, or a Russian name. And basically he went on here. He wanted to find out if the girl was available and if she had a telephone number. Basically, Ashley Neal, or the person who is being talked about here, never called him back and emailed him instead, said that he would not discuss any ladies unless he became a personal consultation client for only $500 or personal matchmaking client for $2,500. And as you go through this rip-off report, and you can look at it yourself, it's rip-off report number 38039. You can read a whole story about this poor guy and what he went through to try to find a Russian mail-order bride, and unfortunately was unsuccessful and in turn lost his money. I thought that was very interesting, so I decided to go a little further. After doing some research on Google, Face Siberia President Ashley Neal to be on History Channel, and I thought, well, that certainly can't be it. If you read a little further down, Neal's agency has encountered many marriages since operation 1998. He himself is married to a Siberian beauty named Yulia, Y-U-L-I-Y-A, since 1999. I found that to be really just extremely crazy, and I thought, surely, it says, Neal stated Siberia is a very interesting place for a Russian mail-order bride type of business, over 7 women to 1 man in this region of Russia. So the search continues. I thought, wow, you know. I found another site. I wish they could all be mail-order girls. And in this, you'll notice that it even on this part right here, says we got him in trouble in the first place. Sometime later, San Antonio, Texas, Ashley Neal got the idea to use his Baylor business degree to set up a romantic lifeline connecting American menfolk with Seoul's country women. It is a whole article, and you can see here by the images, where basically you can get a mail-order bride. Neal's website, Faces Siberia, right here, and pay up to $10,000 for the opportunity to marry a woman not spoiled by modern materialistic world, the site promises. Neal claims to have personally videotaped and interviewed more single Russian women than any other man in the world. That's not something I claim to be very proud of if I was him, but hey, everybody's got their own taste. Let's move on to the next one I found, digital culture, getting your woman online. And you'll actually see here, same thing. I hear every day from guys, American men are so sick of American women, says Ashley Neal, founder and owner of two relative recently established mail-order bride companies in San Antonio, Texas, FaceSiberia.com and www.foreignsecrets.com. I thought that was this is just going on and on. The more I can search, the more I can find, and it got to be almost somewhat ridiculous. Then I go here to another business journal. It just does more of the same explanation about who he is, where he's from. In this picture, it says his Russian wife, Julia. So now an American named Julia. So it's kind of piecing together. So then I go on Better Business Bureau, and I type in Tile of Luxury, because that's the name of the company. And you can see here, Tile of Luxury. I'm going to jump to this real fast. It was founded by Ashley and Julia Neal for offering the finest handcrafted tiles in the world from all the company. You can see here it says Mr. Neal is an entrepreneur and has traveled all over the world and studied many cultures to develop passion for fine tiles. He speaks very much about Julia Neal's artist and former model. She has a passion for creative design. They are located in San Antonio, Texas, and ship tile all over the world directly to our manufacturers. It's interesting because he goes on to talk in here different things about the parts of the world he's been to and that whole sort of deal. He's after studied in Moscow University. I thought that to be kind of different that he was in Moscow. So Ashley Neal obviously is a man who's been around the block, Russia and America and everywhere in between. So let's go back to this Better Business Bureau. Tile of Luxury got rated an F. You can see that up at the top there. If you go down here, it talks about Tile of Luxury with the same website I was just at, San Antonio, Texas, his name, and you can scroll down and look at all the complaints. What I'd ask you to do is you can go to betterbusinessbureau.org, bbb.org. You can type in Tile of Luxury, located in San Antonio, Texas, and read all about the complaints. They're actually pretty interesting. And just to make sure I was doing this correctly, I happened to run across the Tax Assessor Collector's website down there in San Antonio. And sure enough, William Ashley Neal and his wife, instead of Julia, it's now back to Yulia, Y-U-L-I-Y-A. And I thought that was interesting that all this is kind of starting to come together. And I thought, wow, this is somebody I would never do business with, and I would sure hope would never do business in Melissa. So I'm so glad now that things didn't work out, and as much as I'd like the tax generated, I would not want this person here in Melissa. And so again, as you can see, everything on here is kind of pointing towards that. If you're really curious and you think maybe you don't know if you're for sure, you know, hey, is this really the guy? Let's go to google.com and feel free to type in Bustu2, which is the name of the person doing all this. You'll notice that he has many videos and all different languages, and I've tried translating some of these. Many of them pop up into Russian, Ukrainian, that whole type of deal. So I'm pretty certain that I can say that through much research that I've found an answer to this. I just wanted everybody to know this. I think it's very interesting to know what people are doing and who they are, and why would they be so angry towards the city. And I felt like through my research, maybe we can figure out some of this mess that's here on YouTube and many other websites. And I hope that everybody else can take a look at it. Feel free to Google and search and do whatever you need to do. If you have any questions, please feel free to write me a message. Thank you, and I hope you enjoy.